G'day everybody, it's Dave from Wing Chun Mind Force. Another bus talk here in sunny Australia, almost in Queensland. It's plus 35 degrees Celsius today, which is pretty hot. And I'm sitting in the bus with the air conditioning ticking away. It's quite lovely in here. And you can see the dear old river there, lots of nice shady trees. So today I just want to talk about a couple of things I've got in my mind. One is practicing your Wing Chun with your eyes closed, or even with a blindfold, or even in the dark. I have talked about this regards the dummy, but when you close your eyes, I think there should be many approaches to your practice, but when you close your eyes or when you're in the dark, all that visual sense goes away and it makes you much more internal, much more aware of you sort of floating there in the dark, and much more aware of pure feeling. And so you can, with your eyes closed or in the dark, you're sensing your state of softness better. You're not being distracted by the things you're looking at. Your mind's not wandering. It tends to keep you back in that Nim Tau mind where you feel things. It's, don't think, feel. And I personally love doing it. I love to train in the dark. There's a story about Sigong Chu Shong Tin, who used to often go and train up on the rooftop in Hong Kong and work on what Master Yip Man had told him to do, just to do the form and try to find the Nim Tau mind. That's how I understand it. The Lup Nim story means, find that sense of Nim, Lim. They tend to say it in Cantonese. It sounds more like a L to an English speaker, Lim. But by being in the dark, you're not distracted. And it's good to be comfortable and cool, not feeling hot, not feeling uncomfortable. But if you practice in the dark, one of the obvious things is that it works on your balance, especially if you're doing, say you're standing on one leg in the dark and doing the form. You haven't got the visual sense to help you, so it really makes you very, very tuned into your proprioceptive senses, which I've talked about, the body's ability to close the eyes and touch the nose, touch the ears, find yourself in space. And when you chi sao with somebody, you'd have to be pretty comfortable with people to chi sao with them in the dark. But if you close your eyes, my Sifu Jim Fung used to do a bit of they have these really cool demos. They get lots of students into the school by putting on demos of the power of Wing Chun. And one of the things he would do sometimes is put on a blindfold and chi sao with people rolling. Now, the average person thinks chi sao is a game of what's the other guy doing? How will I counteract? Oh, there's a gap. I'll shove a punch through that gap, or I'll knock his arms out of the way and hit him through there. So it's a conscious mind game that people think that's what chi sao is about. Whereas real chi sao is sticking, doing all the right things in Wing Chun, and letting the subconscious mind, the Nim Tau, find the gaps, find the way. And when you do it blindfolded or with your eyes closed or in the dark, there's no sort of seeing what he's doing. So it's all about feel. And this is something I stress to my students. I don't let them open their arms wide and bugger eyes around in chi sao. Especially never let people disengage. Like as soon as they unstick, I go bang, just slap them on the chest. I go, no. It's called sticking hands for a reason. You stick to them. It's about protecting yourself. It's about controlling the other guy and not giving him a chance to smack you one. So if you're not sticking to them, you don't know what you're doing. And I see people constantly chi saoing online, demonstrating Wing Chun, but I see them disengaging. I see them pulling back and trying to come over, and I think, somebody knows what they're doing, it's going to smack you every time. As soon as you disengage, bang, it's going to come through. And when you really get this Nim Tau going, especially when you really relax in Chi Sao, you'll find that your arms have a mind of their own. You'll feel them wanting to go. You don't have to push them. They just, it's like they're sort of coiled springs, and you're sticking, and as soon as the other guy gets out of the way, the springs off and straight in. And you know, you can control it. It's a bit hard sometimes when you're first getting used to it. It can take you by surprise, the power of it. It just sort of springs in, especially if somebody's putting a lot on you, especially a lot of muscle. If they're not doing their Chi Sao well and you're in the right stage, you can just spring at them with it before you even realise what's going on. Anyway, that's the idea. Just try doing your Wing Chun in the dark or with your eyes closed, or you know, make a blindfold, put something around your head or one of those sleeping masks, and give it a go, and have a go with Chi Sao. If you're confident with your Chi Sao and you've got a partner who's going to go along with this, don't go trying to hit each other, but just roll and get the feeling of the feeling, like not only being aware of where you are but where he is by touch. And that's the other thing about Chi Sao. I stick to the center in Chi Sao. My both fingers, I can't really do it because I'm holding the phone with the other hand, but I roll very conservatively, so I'm always in the way of the opponent. I'd never give them the chance to smack me one, and I don't train that into myself to open up a big gap and say, come on, here you go, hit me. The point of Chi Sao is to have a ball of arms, and it becomes a ball of mind force, really, at a very high level. That's protecting you like a shield. So that's that idea. And the other thing is, I just want to encourage you, if you're alone, I think the most important thing in Wing Chun is to practice alone. Chi Sao, obviously you need somebody, but daily practice, even if it's only 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, is much better than a whole lot once a week or once every fortnight, because it becomes normal, and what happens is you just have constant breakthroughs and ideas coming to you. And I just picked up, I was practicing the dummy heaps the other night, and then I just picked up, grabbed my pole, one of my poles from up above, and I had an incredible time with that pole, and I'm sort of going right back into it. I haven't made videos about the knives in the pole because I don't think I'm good enough yet. I mean, not being overly modest, but I'm okay by the standards of most people. I can do effortless things with the knives in the pole. I know the forms physically, and I think I do them mostly in the right way, but I've held back. You know, you might think, well, you've talked about Chum Q and Bill G, Dave. Well, I haven't given every secret of those away either, but you know, there's so much to learn in this art, and you do need to practice every day to get to all the secrets. You can learn a hell of a lot from other people, you know, listen to somebody like me or other good teachers, but you need to let the art talk to you. You need to just trust Wing Chun, throw away all this BS about Wing Chun. There's no use in a fight. Like, I digress a bit here, but I watch fights constantly in movies, real tough guys fighting away, supposed to be a gnarly spy or a hard man or a killer. I watch guys in the ring, I watch guys in the cage, and I just think, what's going on? Like, I see people telegraphing like mad, drawing back to punch, especially in movies. Of course, they're actors, so they're not always really martial artists. They're just handsome and muscly, or you know, powerful girls. But they sort of wide open. They're like pulling back, and they're doing these like haymakers. It's like, Jesus, mate. You know, somebody who knows Wing Chun would just take them apart. You know, somebody goes and does this to me, I've already hit him about 5 times. It's like, what are you doing? And when people get out of my way, like if I'm rolling with somebody and they get a little bit punchy, like some people do, it doesn't worry me. I sort of like it because it makes me, you know, do the right thing, makes me stick. I think, well, I better stick, they're going to smack me one. But it always surprises me where they'll suddenly disengage from me to try and hit me in the ribs or give me a slap across the head. My hand's in their face before they've even started to move. You know, they start to disengage, and boom, I'm right there. And sometimes they don't get the message. So if they try it more than twice, they'll give them a bit of a slap. Just shake their marbles up a bit and say, don't do it, mate. No, it's not just blokes who do it. I've had girls do it too, trying to smack me one. But it's just they're not being trained well. They're not. If somebody does that, their teacher is letting them down. They should be saying, no. You never disengage, and you never get out of the way. As soon as you get out of the way, Wing Chun, we're straight line. We come, you know, punch comes from the heart. We're just straight in there, bam. We inhabit the center. We take the center. We don't care about all that stuff out there. And if you've followed Wing Chun for a long time, you know that in Bill G and you know, even from the start with Siu Nim Tau, we are making these wide off the center movements. But those are movements that translate to multiple attacker fights where, you know, I'm on this dude, I haven't got time to turn, I just hit this guy here that I can see out of my peripheral vision, or, you know, hit him with my, you know, whole forearm maybe. But same as, you know, Bill G, it's all this superpower coming in from wide, but it doesn't mean you actually fight like that, stand wide open. It's just practical fighting art that knows that sometimes you're caught out where, you know, especially with multiple attackers, you're just in a position. And a lot of real fights, you know, they're bullies, they're cowards, people who attack you and you just mind your own business. They're gutless, so they don't tend to come up and front you up like a real man. They come from the side. They try to king hit you, as we say in Australia, hit you from behind or smack you from the side. So you got to be able to boom straight there, you know, just what my teacher and good mate Ivan Howe calls oh shit maneuvers. It's like you suddenly realise somebody's about to hit you. It's like, oh shit, boom, and you don't think about, oh, I see he is using his, you know, something Sao, his dragon arm, his peacock's beak. You don't think that sort of stuff. You just go pow like that, and you don't even have to hit them. You just knock them out of the way. If they're stupid enough to keep coming, then you hit them. Boom, turn them, give them everything, give them both barrels. But yeah, that'll do. So train regularly, train by yourself, take notes, as I always say, write down your discoveries. You know, you might discover stuff no one's ever heard of. That's why I share a lot of things that might seem a bit odd to people. Think, oh, my Sifu never said anything about that. Well, your Sifu undoubtedly has learnt things I've never heard of and I could really use, but it's a creative journey and you will discover stuff for yourself. So write it down so you don't forget. Always come back to it years later and go, oh yeah. So keep practicing, try practicing with your eyes closed, try practicing in the dark, and remember, guard your center line. Okay, see you later. Oh, by the way, I'm restarting my Sifu series, which was some of my most popular videos, talking to senior people from the lineage I'm in, the Yip Man Chu Shong Tin lineage, and you know, different branches from his students. So look forward to that. And if you're a senior person in our lineage and you'd like to be interviewed me, just send me a comment. You know, if you've got 20 years plus experience in the art and you feel like you've got something you'd like to share that's really useful and relevant, that'd be great. Okay, talk soon. Bye.